Good afternoon. My name's Eric Schmiel, and today I want to talk to you about a problem that I've been struggling with for a very long time, and that is balancing my creative life with my personal life. I've tried many different kinds of time management schemes. I feel like I've dedicated much of my time over the last few years to fine-tuning some kind of perfect way to shift the requirements of my life to actually be able to accomplish something, to make something. But it's been a real struggle. You can burn yourself out if you're trying to make things all the time. You need time to unwind. You need time to relax. You need to build experiences. That's right, he gets it. So I decided to bring in my friend Nick Nundahl here, who's also a fellow creative here in Richmond, Virginia, and he has a wonderful dog. Our special guest. So, Puppy, how do you balance your creative life and your work life? It's very zen. Oh, also here is Nick Nundahl of Instant Replay Live. He makes video game videos, live plays, let's play.
Let's play a video game together.
Right. You make things. Nick, how do you do it?
Well, so I think my bigger problem is that I also don't know how to do it. So I'm not an expert who can come in and give you some great answers. I have a wife, and I have a job, and I have a lot of things in my life. I have friends who are important to me. And all of them, even though the ones who are heavily engaged with the channel and help make the channel work, I think they all hate the channel. Because it has 100% taken over my life. And the balance is probably not healthy, but I also feel, and I'm not saying that I'm doing a great thing, I want to make that clear, but I feel that great things don't happen without sacrifice. So I'm willing to sacrifice my friends and family, apparently. I feel that, I have this passion for what we do, whether it's the Let's Play or just other videos we make or whatever. And I think you can't deny passion. You have to embrace it and take it where it takes you. And this dog is embracing me. He loves me. And you can't deny that either.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought up sacrifice, though, because that is that's kind of the key issue here is how you can't make these sacrifices forever. I feel like there comes a breaking point where it's like you need to step back and you need to inhale.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of feel like I've come across this idea that I feel like creative work is kind of like a sprint. You have to run really fast for a while, give it your all, but eventually, you have to take a break and before the next sprint, right? You run really fast, wait for the next one. Run really fast, wait for the next one. How long would you say you go between making things?
About 2 weeks.
That's pretty good.
Well, I mean, there's a different level. It depends on what level of the cycle we're talking on. So,
okay.
So that's I think the way that we have made it work, if there is a way to say we've made it work, is that we realized very quickly there's a lot of different ways you can do video game content on the web. You can do one great product stretched over a long period of time because you put a lot of effort and time between it. You can do a lot of content in a very short period of time. In particular, I look to either channels that upload multiple times a day or live streamers who will stream for 4 hours in a single evening, every evening, trying to make that Twitch partnership or whatever. And those things definitely don't fit my life. I wanted to stream. I wanted to make a following on streaming at one point because I feel like it's what the audience wants right now. I feel like there's an audience for Let's Play that's a pre-recorded Let's Play on YouTube as well, but there is a huge audience that wants a direct interaction with the content creator. And I respect the hell out of that because I understand wanting that interaction. I just can't give it to people on a regular basis that often because I do have a wife and I have a house and I have dogs and cats and chickens and a job, and all of those things take up way too much time on the if I'm giving them the minimum amount of attention, this just gets me by without my wife leaving me. If I'm just doing that, it's too much time to do all the other stuff on top of it.
Yeah. You have to make choices. I really feel you there on wanting to stream and do all that. I tried streaming myself, but I want to write poetry, write novels. I want to do photography, like proper photography. And I want to make these videos, but really, like, to do anything well, I feel like you have to give it, like, almost everything.
Yeah, more than 100%, right? Like, you have to put in more time. You have to take away from vital things like sleep to be able to put stuff out that is of the highest quality and to compete with the market that's out there of other people doing the same thing. Super competitive markets. And so the way we've made it work for us is just by setting our own pace, right? We decided what works for us and we've adjusted that as we've needed to, but we've locked it in for at least periods of time. And we plan to that pace. So we record on a weekend essentially every other weekend. There's definitely give and take with that as necessary, but essentially we'll get all the recording done in a single weekend, and then I will have 2 weeks to make sure that's edited, upload scheduled, and ready to go before the next one. So there is always something happening in that 2-week cycle. It's not like I do it all in one day and then I'm done. I'm always working, but I can at least work when I have free spots, and I can crunch when I know I have to. As far as like if I've run out of time and I have to do a late night, that's one late night I can get done, and then everything hits on schedule.
So you never have a period where it's like, okay, for 3 days I don't have to worry about the channel. It's always something going on.
There's always
something.
Whether
it's recording or it's editing.
There's always something. The only times I get like a free night is when something else cancels, and I'm just like, oh my god. It's the weirdest thing being an introvert and like living the social, because like if I'm not editing video, if I'm not scheduling video and tagging video and putting in descriptions and everything else, I'm trying to learn a new technology. I'm going to a convention. I'm going to an RVA YouTubers meetup. I'm visiting some other thing, RVA game jams. Lots of, like, if there's not something I'm doing, I'm trying to fill it with something else I can do. And so when something cancels, as an introvert, it's like, it's a joy. Because it's like, unexpected free time. Oh, God, yes. But yeah, I mean, it's a constant schedule of just, like, finding the time, because at least those things in between are small things usually. So finding the time where I can and plugging them in. Yeah.
Do you feel like you've achieved a sustainable rate? Like,
yes.
Could this, okay.
What I dislike about our rate at this point is that it is sustainable in productivity, certainly not sustainable in audience building and things like that. Well, maybe it's sustainable, but it's like a minimal growth sustainability. The things I want to do, things are like the big projects, more instant role plays, more sketches, maybe a film someday. Like, that's nowhere near anything, but someday. Live action series of, we've got ideas for 2 to 3 sitcoms that we would love to actually try to put together, like internet sitcoms. And all of those things are out of reach because of the schedule we're maintaining right now. So the idea often comes up is, gosh, should we pull back from Let's Plays and just focus on those? Should we always continue doing Let's Plays? Or do we need to bring in extra help, which is what we're starting to work on, to make the Let's Play work without so much direct intervention, and then we have free time to do other stuff. That's the dream.
Right on.
So.
Yeah. I know you had a much more rapid pace before, and then you decided to dial it back. What was it like before you dialed it back, and how'd you come to that decision to pull it back?
There's a number of pieces to why the rapid pace worked for us when we did. My brother Joe and I are partners on the channel. The only reason the channel exists is because we did it together, and I dabbled with the idea of streaming or Let's Playing before Joe and I did it together, and I was just like, whoa, not ever going to work for me. Once we came together on it, that was when we knew it was going to work. Joe moved in with me at that time, and that's why we started really... Well, it wasn't... There's like a lot of like, this led to that, which led to this, which led to that. But because we were living together, he was in my house, in my spare room, we could record whenever we needed to. And we would just go for it and put stuff out. And that gave us 2 uploads a day, which is insane. We can't do that anymore. Now we schedule recordings. It's every couple of weeks, and we have we realized that the balance was too high. You have to acknowledge when you've put yourself out too much and scale back as appropriate. Or scale up if you feel like you've started too low. Start with whatever feels doable and adjust from there. Don't make a plan like, I will do this for the next year. I see that so often where people say like, I'm going to stream every day, or I'm going to upload every day, or every Wednesday, Monday, Friday. I don't know why I did that. But even if they set that and it's like that feels attainable to them, and then when they miss it, they go, oh, I've failed, I've ruined everything. You gotta allow yourself a chance to adjust. Learn from the fact that you missed that day and adjust down. Okay, well, Wednesdays turned out to be harder than I thought. I'm just gonna do Monday, Fridays now. Or I'm gonna schedule out the Monday and Wednesday and I'm not gonna worry about Friday. Like, whatever it is, learn from where you misstep and live with that. So, that's what we did.
Yeah. How did it feel to finally, like, take it back a little bit? Was it like, oh my god, my life has improved so much? I can lay down finally?
I think there's definitely steps along the way where it felt like things improved, where I could breathe a little bit more, and then in the inhale, I discover something else we can do that fills the time, but in better ways, Yeah. So there's a quality of life improvement, but there's not a time improvement, because as soon as I learned how to use better editing software, it freed up many hours of editing, because I didn't have to do these like little micromanagey things that the software can do for you. But then I filled that time with learning how to use that software in other better ways to do other cooler things, or to do some sketches, or to do some live appearances and things like that. So it's just like, I don't think I've ever like let the amount of time I put into it diminish. I've just rearranged that a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. You ever have the urge to go back to that old schedule, that old pace?
No. I do sometimes think, especially when we chose to drop down to every other day from a everyday upload, that's the same time that YouTube put a greater emphasis on daily views. So we didn't find that out until about a month and a half later, but we found out that was a big deal for YouTube to make that change. Like, it's very important to have daily views on your channel now. And we didn't know that. We made the decision, and now I often regret not having daily views anymore, because because we are every other day. We still get daily views, it's just because they're watching, like they're catching up the day behind.
Yeah.
I think it was the right decision ultimately to switch regardless, but I always worry, like, man, are we missing something? Are we missing some like good suggested video bumps because we're not uploading every day? And I think it would be cool to get back to that, but with not every day being a Let's Play ever. And definitely not the 2 a day. The 2 a day was way too much. Unless we had like what Game Grumps does, where you have like other people working on the channel. Yeah. But I think it would be cool to get back to every day, as long as we had some radically different stuff on the off days. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know in my own struggles to try to get my life back in balance with this, I've really streamlined the process of making these videos over time. I've cut a lot of corners. I don't know if y'all remember this one vlog every day in August. I wound up doing nothing but one-take videos. So I've done a lot of things to try to streamline my own creative process over the years. And even now, I feel like to make like my morning schmeal episodes or my typical vlogs, I limit myself to like 5 minutes of recording time from once I start going. And then I know after that 5 minutes, it's time to start wrapping it up, and I try to wrap it up from there. And that allows me to both, it limits how much footage I have to go over when it comes time to actually edit the video. And it's also, it's much quicker, because I mostly just take out some of the gaps. I don't have to make a lot of choices about like, oh god, did I talk about that too long? Did I not talk about that enough? By being a bit rigorous about this, I've managed to hit a somewhat much more sustainable kind of creation process for myself. Have you done anything to streamline the instant replay live process over the years?
Like, yes, there's many steps over time, so it wasn't like big leaps or anything. I mean, the first big leap was getting off of Windows Movie Maker, because that editing, you hit to render something and it's like, all right, I'll be back in 3 days. It's just awful. So as soon as we moved up to a better software, everything just kind of became faster. But then over time you learn how the software works, you learn how presets work, you can set things up faster and ready to go. We've also learned maybe to live dangerously a little bit more and just trust. Like, I used to do a lot of like audio checking and make sure everything's great. Now I just check it a couple times and trust that like these settings have worked the last however many times. They'll probably work today. We've definitely also just developed a natural flow, right? Like the mode switches on. It's like now it's recording time. So now I can go into recording voice and I can be ready to do Instant Replay Live more days than not. There are certainly other days where I sit down and I'm like, how do I do this? How do I begin talking about something and making it make sense and making anyone care? That happens still. But yeah, we have certainly picked up little things over time. It's just small adjustments that, by the end are an avalanche of change.
Right on. Okay, well, thanks for talking about this with me, Nick. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Letting me ramble and act like I know things. Always seems good.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. That's what I do on this channel all the time. So.
Yeah.
It's kind of our central theme. To look like
Perfect.
You know something. So where can they find you at, Nick? And
well, we are on YouTube, which is where you're probably watching this at least. So you can find us at by searching Instant Replay Live on YouTube, or you can go to www.instantreplaylive.com. Or I'm willing to bet that Eric's going to put maybe like an end screen or a link in the description or something. So there will be something like that.
Oh, absolutely. Look down in the doobly-doo and stare at this strange box. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hope to see y'all later. Ciao.